Dessert person, Hot Fudge. Hi everyone, I'm Claire Saffitz. Welcome to my home kitchen. Today I have a recipe that's perfect for summer, but especially for a family gathering, for example, on 4th of July. This is my recipe for hot fudge. It's from What's for Dessert. There's no candy thermometer required, and what you get is this like incredibly luscious, chocolatey, stretchy kind of hot fudge that when you put it on ice cream, it becomes like super chewy and delicious, and it's just kind of everything I want in a hot fudge sauce.
Okay, so how does this differ from Magic Shell?
Minnie, stop talking about Magic Shell. This is not Magic Shell. This is the opposite of Magic Shell, where when you put it on something cold, it stays, it doesn't harden, it like firms up and becomes chewy. And I think one thing that's important to realize about hot fudge is it is basically a form of candy making. It's like you're cooking sugar, and that's what's giving you this texture that when it's hot, it's liquid, but it hits something cold and it kind of firms up and becomes chewy and delicious. It does sort of function as like an all-purpose chocolate sauce. So in the book, I have it as part of my profiterole bar recipe where you make profiteroles, you serve it with scoop your own ice cream, and then you top it with all these different sauces. So there's hot fudge, there's a berry sauce, and there's also a caramel sauce. So although this is designed in the book to go with the profiteroles, it's much more versatile than that. And so really this is like kind of the ideal thing over ice cream.
If we were on Family Feud, top 7 answers, what would you use hot fudge for?
Okay. Number 1, ice cream sundae. Number 2, brownie sundae. Is that different from hot fudge sundae? Yeah. Okay. Number 3, as a gift to bring someone. Number 4, on an ice cream cake. Are all these different answers? Number 5, profiteroles, which is the recipe in the book. So as
fruit was the number 2 answer.
Fruit. No, I don't do fruit and chocolate. Very straightforward. I have heavy cream, some kosher salt, a little unsalted butter, unsweetened cocoa powder. I prefer Dutch process, although it doesn't matter for this recipe. Granulated sugar, 3 ounces of dark chocolate, something in like the 70% range is really good. This is a little bit lower. You just don't want anything too sweet or like, you know, super, super bitter. A couple tablespoons of light corn syrup, vanilla extract, and a little water. Special equipment, you just need a saucepan and a whisk. So very like low tech, no candy thermometer. I am going to sort of pre-mix my ingredients. Now the butter and the water and the vanilla get added after it's cooked, so I'm gonna set those aside. Then I'm going to whisk together my granulated sugar. I'm using a small saucepan. This recipe makes about 2 cups. If you want a higher yield, you can double it. If you're gonna make a higher yield, I would go ahead and cook it in a Dutch oven just because you're gonna get like really even heating and minimal chances of scorching. But for now, I'm just using a sort of heavy stainless steel saucepan and my kosher salt. This is 3/4 teaspoon of kosher. Now I'm gonna whisk this together, mostly because I wanna smooth out any lumps in the cocoa powder. Cocoa powder can be pretty lumpy. You could just combine everything at once, but I do this step first because cocoa powder is so fine that it's very likely to form lumps when you add liquid. And so by dispersing it through the sugar, it's gonna really incorporate much more easily. So I'm just getting all that together. And now I'm gonna add my heavy cream. This is a cup of heavy cream. Then my corn syrup. So I often get like a little bit of pushback from certain home bakers about the use of corn syrup. I'm only using 2 tablespoons. I mean, I understand the concern, but this is I think it's important to look at it as a functional ingredient. I'm not using this as a, like, to give me the kind of base of the recipe or to provide bulk or to provide sweetness. This is purely functional. It is there to create a smooth, glossy sauce and to prevent crystallization. So don't omit it. Yeah, there's other sort of forms of like what's called invert sugar, but I don't think 2 tablespoons of corn syrup is going to do any harm.
What other home bakers are giving you problems?
No one. Everyone's great.
But who's like Claire Saffitz, corn syrup, me, shame? Me.
When you're whisking, make sure that you're really getting into that place where the bottom of the saucepan meets the sides, because you don't want any trapped sugar or cocoa. So this is nice and smooth. I'm going to add my chocolate now. This is 3 ounces of, I believe this is 64% chocolate. In the recipe, it says something more like in the 70 to 72% range, just to sort of cut down on the sweetness a little bit. So there's some flexibility there, but this is just good quality chocolate, so that's what you want to use. And this already is in what's called fevs, these like little bean-shaped pieces, but if you're using bar chocolate, just go ahead and chop it. Something 70% or above is like on the pretty intense, dark, bitter side. Anything kind of like below 60 is going to be like sweeter, kind of creamier, especially once you get into milk chocolate. And I like it all. So this is going to go in, and I'm going to go over to the stove and start to cook this. So now initially all I want to do is melt the chocolate and get some of that sugar dissolving. So I want to bring this to a boil, and there I just found a little pocket of unincorporated cocoa. So make sure that you're scraping the bottom and sides. We are essentially making a kind of like liquid fudge where we're, you know, cooking the mixture, the sugars are concentrating, and that corn syrup is helping to keep everything smooth and not crystallized. So that's why it's so important. It is good to use a heavy bottomed saucepan like this, because if you have a really like thin, flimsy saucepan, it's more likely that you're gonna scorch it, and chocolate is a pretty sensitive ingredient where it will kind of take on like a burn flavor, which you don't want. So here it is coming up to a boil. I'm gonna turn it down. So I'm just kind of at like a nice sort of medium / gentle boil. There's one very important endpoint that we're looking for here, and that is that the mixture is gonna break. So I'm going to intentionally break this. The fat, especially this kind of like yellowish cocoa fat from the chocolate and from the butter fat and the cream, are going to separate out from the rest of the mixture. And at that point, it's done cooking. Now that can take a little bit of time depending on your heat and the size of your saucepan. In the book, I say like 40 to 50 is probably on average what it will take you. So I'm gonna let this cook. Not quite at like a rolling boil, because that mixture is gonna like bubble up. You want it at like a brisk simmer. I'm gonna come back and periodically check it, and then at some point, I'm gonna start to see that fat separate out. This actually happened faster than I thought it would. This was maybe about 25 minutes until I started to see that fat separate out from the rest of the mixture. So I'm gonna turn it off. I just had it bubbling at like a vigorous simmer. It was kind of on between medium and medium low. And I was really diligent about scraping around the bottom and side. So it's almost like the fudge is kind of like freely moving across the entire saucepan. So you can see that yellow fat swimming around. And the mixture got very, very thick. It almost looks like fudge at this point. And usually when you're cooking a mixture, you don't want it to break, but we're gonna bring it right back together into this like great glossy sauce. So now I'm gonna take it off the heat, and we can go back to the countertop, and I'm gonna finish it off. I'm gonna pour it into a bowl. Now, I really didn't have any problems with scorching because I was stirring pretty frequently, but it's not uncommon that you might have some of the mixture kind of stuck onto the bottom of the pan. If that's the case, you can go ahead and scrape around the sides, but I don't recommend scraping across the bottom because sometimes you'll get a little bit of like a burn flavor. So here you can really see that yellow fat that's totally separated out. So now while this is hot, I'm gonna add my remaining ingredients. That's 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of water, which is gonna help to emulsify everything back together, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So this looks a little crazy because you have the fat and then the water and it's all separated, but I promise it's all gonna come back together momentarily. I just wanna let this sit for like a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes or so, and it's gonna cool off a little bit. The butter is gonna melt, and then we're gonna whisk it all together. So now that this has had a chance to sit a little bit and the butter is melted, I'm gonna just whisk it, and it's gonna come together into this incredibly beautiful, glossy, smooth sauce. So when you're whisking, I like to kind of start in the center, making little rotations, and then work my way out. And it doesn't even take long. This has basically already come back together, and it's so smooth and glossy. I love how like dark the color is. It's such a rich color. And that extra bit of water and the butter and the vanilla helps to thin it out a little bit so you get this beautiful pourable texture. Once it's done and in this state, and then you like can pack it into a jar and chill it, at that point it is incredibly stable. I've had hot fudge last in the fridge in a jar upwards of 6 months. Take it out, warm it up. If you've had it in the fridge or it's just sat on the counter for a long time and it no longer has that pourable consistency, Put a little water in the bottom of a saucepan like this. Bring it to a simmer, set the bowl on top, and just stir it or whisk it until it's warm and pourable again. And that's a gentle way of heating it up. I don't really recommend heating it in the microwave because it can overheat, and sometimes if it gets too hot too quickly, that fat will separate out again. But it's not a big deal if that happens. Just whisk in 2 tablespoons of water and it should come back together. But a gentle heating is better. It's at that like perfect temper, like softened just the right amount. Oh my God, look at the color. That is, I can't. I'm gonna use vanilla. That color is not, I can't show that.
Why?
It's radioactive. It's glowing in the dark. I'm grabbing the vanilla. It's just off brand. I love the hand-packed pint. So this is just vanilla ice cream, a good blank canvas. It's just at that like perfect.
Quiet, Harris.
It's at that perfect temper where it's like still frozen, but it's softened a little bit and it's like gonna be super scoopable. Give it a nice big scoop. This is perfect. We have this, I hate this spoon. The spoon is stupid. Harris loves it, but I am actually gonna use it for this because it's gonna give it a perfect pour. Ooh, I love the drip. I love seeing it harden around that ice cream. You want to eat this as quickly as possible. It looks so good. It's not magic shell. No magic shell.
You did say it did harden.
Don't say magic shell. Not harden, it just chilled.
How did you before?
Because it just looks good. The sort of intensity of the hot fudge cuts through the sweetness of the ice cream. So you get this bitterness that's perfectly offset by the vanilla and the ice cream plus the hot plus the cold. It's just like a perfect study in contrast. This is something that you can make early in the summer, keep a couple jars around, and you can have hot fudge sundaes all summer long and highly giftable. And again, it will literally keep in your fridge for 6 months or longer. And I just can't think of anything better to put over ice cream. So thank you so much for watching. We'll bring you more recipes from What's for Dessert, more episodes of Dessert Person. We'll see you soon, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
What is the greatest ice cream flavor of all time?
Coffee Oreo. When we get our ice cream maker, I'm gonna make coffee Oreo ice cream. This is good.